What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go battling content. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the team that I rolled into the Sunshine Cup with on Friday on my live stream and absolutely destroyed souls. Dude, Miltank is the queen of Sunshine Cup, and no one can tell me otherwise. This thing was an absolutely busted pick, and paired with Talonflame and Gligar, we were able to handle just about all of the teams that were trying to take advantage of the Vigoroth safe swap and double in the back and things like that, which is exactly what I was expecting first off on this team. So very awesome games here. Stay tuned because Miltank is about to go off and you are going to enjoy it. So let's get right into the games here and check out Miltank in the Sunshine Cup. Getting into the first battle, we've got a Shadow Swampert lead, and this is really where I need to see the Swampert. Now, the nice thing about Miltank here is that it gets those body slams so freaking quick. Body slam one, gonna go off here, takes out, no health, but we get the shield. Now, for reference, body slam does about 45% or so to a Swampert. Now, a Shadow Hydro Cannon does hurt. Opponent immediately swaps in their double, so I'm going to straight go into Talonflame after getting a couple of double kicks to get back up to that body slam. Make sure that I'm ahead of the Swampert on energy. My opponent goes straight for the Wild Charge here. Very good play by them, but I'm going to be able to go for this Flame Charge. Hopefully that'll be enough. But it's not, unfortunately not enough, and one Incinerate is enough to KO afterwards, leaving me with only 1 HP to make sure that that Swampert is not going to get that much farm. One Mud Shot takes out my Talonflame, and then I'm going to start to go for Body Slams again against the Swampert. Because of the energy lead that I have now, I should be able to pull both shields off of the Swampert before they can get to another Hydro Cannon here, as long as they don't throw right away. So because I know they're only 3 away at that point, I'm going to go ahead and overfarm. My opponent throwing on alignment, trying to win CMP. Wouldn't let him have it. They come in with the Vigoroth. Goodness gracious. Save Vigoroth in 5 times fast. I guarantee you, your tongue's going to trip. So, Gligar here in the back as a Shadow. That's all I have. I think that I don't mind running a non-Shadow here, as long as it does better in the Vigoroth matchup. Personally, don't really know how it does because I don't have one to test it with. But at this point, I just need to make sure that I have a charge move ready to go to take care of that Swampert, which is basically out of energy. And then I also have a Body Slam on Miltank ready to go too. So my opponent needed to basically get to 2 charge moves here in order to take me out. And if I'm going to get to this Aerial Ace before they get to 2, Aerial Ace is going to go off. I still had the Body Slam just about ready to go on my Miltank. So that's going to be a good first game here. Well played to my opponent. Into the next game, we've got Miltank on the lead versus another Shadow Swampert. And I'm guessing they just really wanted to hard counter the Flyer lead, not the Flyer leads, the Gligar leads, and I mean, maybe Steelix, maybe? But I'm going to continue farming up energy here. I know I can live 1 Hydro Cannon. My opponent does not go for it immediately. I'm not going to lie, like, in this first couple of sets here that I played in Sunshine Cup, I noticed a lot of trainers throwing with not that great timing. I know that it flips a lot of matchups. I feel like if the trainers were throwing with better timing, like they're 1 Mud Shot into my rollout, perfect timing, amazing. But there's been a lot of games where opponents are trying to throw on CMP, and I'm not going on CMP. So move timing is a critical skill to work on here. It definitely flips matchups if you do it well enough, and your opponent necessarily doesn't. So one of the things that I do coach on here on Metafy as well. So if you're looking to improve your fast move timing, that's one of the things that I pride myself on being good at. So check it out. Anyway, taking out the Shadow Swampert, which is perfectly fine for my backline, and I'm able to maintain shield advantage here because Miltank is an absolute stud. I swap out immediately, Vigoroth comes in, and I can go, I mean, at this point, I was with my chat, and I'm like, watch, this person's not going to throw with good timing, and I'm going to get a full Incinerate, and I basically do. So my opponent now comes in with a dub wall after landing the Body Slam. If I was playing this without being a meme, you know, right, if I was actually like, not doing things for science just to see when my opponent would throw with their timing, I probably would have just gone for the Brave Bird right away, to be honest. But now the opponent can come in and counter down, but the thing is that Gligar now just gets to an Aerial Ace and takes out the Vigoroth, and that's going to be another good game. Well played. I went 9-1, as you probably saw. I think I probably put it in the thumbnail and the title. I recorded the video before I made the thumbnail, maybe not the best practice, but yeah, going for the Aerial Ace here, takes it out. Went 9-1 with this team in the first 2 sets that I played it. Like, you're gonna, like, Miltank is just is an absolute, it's crazy. And so Abomasnow on the lead in the next game. This is a good lead. Apparently the opponent's lagging, but then all of a sudden they catch the moves. You see the Abomasnow having a twitchy fit there. So Body Slam's gonna come through. I don't really need to go for an Ice Beam at any point here, but my opponent not doing any really strong damage here. I mean, if they go for an energy ball, it's going to hurt. They go for the weather ball instead. So then they come in with Pidgeot. And ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly why we run Ice Beam, is because of all the flyers. Ice damage in this meta, very strong. Able to hit the Pidgeot and going to be able to get to a body slam because they swapped in and got only one wing attack in. It's going to be 7 to the first move, so I'll be able to go for the body slam and force a shield. Now at this point, I can just force my opponent to throw, but they're going to continue to farm. They're looking for the farm down here, and Miltank, being the spammy little queen she is going to get another body slam off. And at this point, opponent just loses their Pidgeot. They say, this is not worth my second shield. And he just said, I'm done. So Miltank takes the whole team right there. Didn't even have to switch. Miltank against Pidgeot in the next game, though. In an even shield situation, even energy, this is a little more awkward because they do outpace me to the first move. So if I go for Ice Beam straight away, that is. So instead of letting them get a Feather Dance or Brave Bird, I go for the body slam right away here instead. I'm throwing on my own bad timing. I know it's not ideal. Some trainers don't know the counts, so my opponent goes straight for the Brave Bird, and I immediately safe switch into my Talonflame here. And at this point, I'm like, man, this would be a real weird time to Feather Dance, so I'm just going to shield it, and thankfully, we get the Brave Bird shield. And then my opponent comes in with a Blaziken on my loaded Talonflame. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for the Brave Bird at this point, and my opponent does not shield it. Taken out. Absolutely. I don't think it was loud enough, was it? Where's my volume button on this thing? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. The volume is not high enough on that kaboom button. Yeah, there it is. All right, we got to do it again. All right, that's a little bit better. I wish I could, like, it incinerates on that thing. I wish I could, like, manually control that by itself so it could be louder than the rest of my stuff. But it doesn't quite, unfortunately, work that way. Roll out, taking out the Pidgeot. That's going to be a good game. Next game, into a Gligar lead. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly, once again, this is exactly why we run Ice Beam. This whole team has a lot of play against Gligar, which I certainly expected to see. I'm going to go for the body slam bait here. I have to assume my opponent is an intelligent trainer. I actually recognize the trainer's name, so I know that they are no slouch. They will know that I will have Ice Beam on this Miltank. So I'm going to go for a shield here, looking for the body slam, hopefully getting the shield, which we do, and then able to get to an Ice Beam thanks to throwing with good timing, going for that one fast move earlier. Ice Beam is going to take out the Gligar. And what's in the back? We're going to have the opponent bringing in a Swellow, some spice here in the Sunshine Cup. I have a Swellow built. I feel like it was a waste of Stardust. But if you can make it work, more power to you. It's a more consistent, normal flying type. Going to go straight into my Talonflame here. The opponent essentially has to throw the Brave Bird in order to really get me into a KO situation. So they go for the Sky Attack. Not going to be quite enough. Talonflame going for more Incinerates here. Opponent going for another move, probably the Sky Attack right at this point. There's no reason for them to go for the Brave Bird. So Sky Attack goes through, and now they come in with the Pidgeot. I'm going to go for the Flame Charge, and because I know that I can get to a Flame Charge after one more Incinerate, I'm going to go for it here. Don't think the opponent can quite farm me down, and they cannot. Couldn't make it to the Brave Bird, so I should be able to get the final shield off this Pidgeot with this Flame Charge, which we do. And now it's a matter of Gligar doing its thing. So opponent's running Triple Flyer. Gligar comes in, and at this point, I just have to go for an Aerial Ace here. What I do is I overfarm. I'm expecting them to throw the Feather Dance here, but the opponent goes for the Brave Bird, and now I'm in shambles. So I immediately come in with my Miltank, force them to throw their energy. This is going to most definitely be the Feather Dance at this rate. Yep, it's the Feather Dance right there. Opponent comes straight in with the Swellow. I almost said Staravia. With the Swellow, but we're able to make it to the Ice Beam. Doesn't matter how much of an attack drop you give my Miltank. Ice Beam still KOs Pidgeot. And that's a good game. Well played. Getting into the next battle here, we're going to have Swampert on the lead. Once again, another Shadow Swampert. We still handle regular Swampert mostly the same way, but it's a little bit more awkward because 2 body slams is not enough to KO a non-Shadow, whereas the Shadow Swampert does go down to 2 body slams. So you're much more likely to pull shields against the Shadow Swampert because you still live the Hydro Cannon. I don't think anybody's really running Earthquake in this meta. Typically, they want to go for the Sludge Wave. Once again, opponent trying to throw on the CMP and the alignment there, and I'm going for the extra, and I get a full free rollout, which is going to tip this matchup so much more heavily in my favor. Trainers, I cannot say how important it is to figure out what the timing is for these moves, and if you need help, go find, YouTube videos if you can't afford the coaching, right? There's plenty of YouTube videos out there that cover the subject, but just, it's a really important skill to have down, whether you have someone, you pay someone to help you coach it, or you just go find it for free on YouTube. There's all that stuff out there, but I do, oh, yes, oh, I remember this game. They go for the Brave Bird. I'm like, oh, there's definitely going to be a Feather Dance here. Nope, they go for the Brave Bird. My Talonflame being absolute god hanging on with 1 HP, getting the shield off of my opponent, and now Miltank is primed and ready to come in and take care of this thing. But they come in with a Talonflame instead. The rollouts are doing double super effective damage, but it's not that much damage. Now, in the middle of the video, we're talking about team, right? So if you don't have a Miltank, you could certainly use Dunsparce on the lead instead. You just don't have that ice coverage. Instead, you get Drill Run Rock Slide, which is still okay. But Talonflame, I think, is an absolute must. Gligar, really just anything that beats the pants off of Vigoroth that's reliably safe, right? Now, in this end game here, what I'm hoping to do here is, I know that a Brave Bird probably doesn't KO, so what I look to do is I look to CMP the Pidgeot before they throw the Brave Bird, and I'm hoping that the Aerial Ace is going to take it, but my opponent goes for the Feather Dance, and now I'm a little bit worried. I know I'm going to get it to the next charge move long before they do, but it depends on how much damage the Aerial Ace is. But because it does about half of the Pidgeot's remaining health, we're good. Able to throw another Aerial Ace right away. Going to take out the opponent. I think that at that point, I think their only win condition there was to throw the Brave Bird, but it would have been very close. Anyway, getting into the next game here, we've got a Vigoroth lead. This is not comfy at all. It really depends on what you want to do here. I typically go for Gligar now after having played this team for a little bit, because as you can see here, the Vigoroth just simply stays in and gets ahead on energy. So that's a little bit hard to deal with. Opponent is going to shield though, so thankfully that's going to give us a slight benefit here in this game, as Talonflame up shield is great. We can take one Body Slam, but the opponent is staying in and throwing. Now, you typically want to throw 2 counters into an Incinerate. That's the good timing. So, opponent for going for only 1, not really going to be helping them too much in this situation, as if they were to go for 2, they may have gotten to even another Body Slam before they had to swap out. But a Noctowl comes in and is going to look for the farm down against my Talonflame, but instead they chicken out and throw the energy. And, I mean, that's fine, because I would have thrown an energy at them. It would have KO'd their Noctowl, so they kind of had to throw there. But now Miltank gets to come in. Miltank easily is going to be able to absorb 1 Sky Attack. They're not going to throw a Shadow Ball because it's double resisted into the normal type. So, going to be able to absorb a Sky Attack, overfarm by quite a bit, go for a Body Slam here, and if they do live this, I'll farm down. If not, I've still got quite a bit of energy after this matchup is over, so they do go down, and now, even though Vigoroth is still locked on, that extra energy is going to help me launch a Body Slam or 2 at this Vigoroth. Will almost take it out. Going to come in with Gligar here to absorb this Body Slam, and hope that Miltank is going to have enough energy in the back to deal with whatever there is, and the opponent comes in with their own Gliscor. So, I'm going to go straight Aerial Ace. Obviously, there's no reason for me to go for Dig here. Now, this kind of matchup is where I actually think that having a Return Gligar, like a Purified one with Return, actually isn't that bad of a call, because having that Return Neutral Nuke is actually really strong. Now, here what I'm hoping to do is get the shield off of the opponent here. That's really the only thing that I can think of with my opponent not shielding. We have a simultaneous KO. I need to get to 2 Body Slams. Thankfully, because Miss Miltank is so spammy with that rollout, able to load up 2 Body Slams, and I can throw them back to back. Even if the opponent had thrown 1 there, I don't think they would have had enough for 2. But again, they may have had enough for 2 if they had thrown with good timing against the Talonflame, but it's hard to say that late in the game, so good game to my opponent. Well played. Vigoroth on the lead once again in the next match. This time I'm going to pivot into my Talonflame, which is what I was doing in the first place. Talonflame was the safe switch in the first place. It was just I was having so many times like this where the opponent now throws after 7 counters, which is good timing here, and then they just start going. And then they catch on their Talonflame, and I'm like, okay, this is like worst case scenario, dude. This is worst case scenario. I'm obviously going to go for a Brave Bird next. Maybe I should have gone for a Flame Charge. I don't know. But the opponent now can just shield this and farm all the way down, and they have 100 energy to just rip into whatever on my team. But I am up a shield, so there is that. Going to come in with Miltank, as it is the best thing able to absorb this energy here. Even though a Brave Bird will hurt, I can still tank 1 pretty comfortably, and then look to farm down this Talonflame. Gonna hope that the energy from this farm down is impactful. Vigoroth is in the back waiting to pummel me with counters, but able to get another able to get another rollout with 1 HP. That farm down is huge. Opponent comes in with a Steelix, and I'm like, oh my god. Thought they were going to come in with the Vigoroth, so that's why I threw the Body Slam. Feels like a bad mistake here. Even shields now. Their opponent has a Steelix, and I'm going to hopefully be able to make something happen here. This is looking really, really bad for me, to be completely honest. Breaking Swipe is going to lower the attack. Opponent's going to come back in with the Vigoroth here, and I'm like, okay, yeah, my best case here is to get to like 2 Ice Beams against the Steelix before they can Breaking Swipe me. So I'm going to do my best with energy management here, and I'm just going to throw this Dig and hope that the opponent doesn't shield it, which means I can go for the Aerial Ace right away before they get to another charge move. Now, this is going to be tough because Steelix basically destroys my face, but I'm also not going to be able to get to a dig here unless this Body Slam doesn't do much, which it does. So, unfortunately for me, they are also going to get the farm down. I'm just going to leave the match. I know I've lost. Good game. They completely destroyed my face there. And that's kind of why I start to safe swap to Gligar, is because of Steelix. Now, opponent has a Abomasnow in the lead, and they come in immediately with the Vigoroth, and this is why you see Blaziken on some teams, because it just manhandles these two. Gligar is going to be able to not outpace. It's the same pacing. My opponent's going to outpace me, and they're going to win CMP. But the Aerial Aces plus the Wing Attacks on my end are a little bit more pressuring because the Wing Attack is doing neutral, whereas the counters are doing non-stab resisted damage. So if I can here, I just wanted to get shields and then potentially look to sweep with Talonflame. The opponent having an Abomasnow means that Talonflame is going to be the preferred thing to close with here because they're not going to come in against my Talonflame. So I'm going to come up with my Talonflame now, load up on energy, right? Even if I have to tank a Body Slam here, I'm happy to do that because I would much rather have this much energy against whatever comes in, because it doesn't matter what comes in this meta. Talonflame can absolutely manhandle it. And here comes Gliscor. I'm going to go for the Flame Charge here. Not looking to drop my defense because if I can do anything on this Talonflame is going to rock that Abomasnow. Now, I do see the value in the Abomasnow being in the back, so I'm going to shield up my, or I see my value in the Talonflame rather. So I'm going to go for a Flame Charge here, and I have Miltank in the back, which can handle both of these Pokemon. So I'm going to go for another Incinerate here. Opponent gets taken out before they can get to a charge move. Incinerate, not going to be able to let me get to a charge move here, but Miltank comes in and just finishes the game. Dude, that Incinerate did almost half that Abomasnow's HP. That was disgusting. But here's the thing. If that Incinerate had gone off, like that's the thing. Like that's the thing I hate about Talonflame, and that's why I don't use it very often, is Incinerate is just so slow. It's hard to use. It can be really hard to use. So you just kind of have to get used to it. It's not something that's easy for me to use, and it always has that kind of situation where I lose out on a move because it's just such a long thing. All right. So Miltank on the lead against another Vigoroth. Once again, swapping in my Talonflame here. Again, I think that either way you safe swap, like Talonflame is fine. But what I've been doing is safe swapping my Gligar more often now because I've noticed that there's Steelix in the back. And Talonflame does do much better as a closer than it does as a safe switch, especially with these Vigoroths, because once again, boom! Man, I didn't even hit the button. I never ready. There it is. So opponent's got an Obstagoon in the back. They're going to go for a Night Slash here. I'm going to look to shield and get a shield. I think I can just shield up here, go for the Brave Bird. Opponent's not going to get that many counters. Like, they're going to get like 2 counters off on me, which is fine. And then Gligar can come in and sort this situation out for me. Fortunately, not going to be able to get an Incinerate through for the damage, but Gligar comes in, can easily take a few Night Slashes here, and then once again, we're doing they're doing resisted counter damage. I'm doing the Aerial Ace and Wing Attacks. They're going at neutral, so that's going to outpace the damage a bit here, but the energy lead that Obstagoon has is troublesome, plus they win CMP. As you see, Gligar does not win CMP in the Great League against very much of anything. It has a similar CMP win rate as Medicham because those two are very close. It's IV dependent, so typically the things that Medicham would lose to, I imagine that Gligar would lose to me. Opponent saving the shield, Venusaur comes in, and I can get to this Aerial Ace to get off the HP of this Venusaur. I'm either going to get a shield or do a ton of damage. Opponent shields it up, and I have a shield. All I have to do here is go for this Ice Beam and hope that it's enough. Now, from this HP range, a non-stab Ice Beam might not be enough. So I'm going to let the first Frenzy Plant go because I know I can live it, and then I'm going to look to over-farm quite a bit. Again, opponent throwing on the CMP here, not the wisest thing to do. I'm over-farming because I know I at least need to get to the Ice Beam, and I want to put myself in a position where I can reach for that Body Slam if it's not enough damage. But we're going to Ice Beam the Venusaur, and it's going to be enough, and that's going to be a good game. Well played. Miltank, cracked, super strong Spice pick in this meta. Dealing ice damage, having that ability to spam out Body Slams, gets me up into the 25-60s, and it's a very, very strong team. I very highly recommend this team. My Patreon subscribers have had this team since Friday, and they've been clapping cheeks with it left and right. So thank you all so much for watching. We're going to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.